This is African Discourse. We're live in Benin City, Nigeria. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe. It's a wonderful day. Wilson Marshall is away for a couple of weeks. I'm filling in for him. So let's talk about Africa and the challenge of leadership on the continent. For those who have followed developments, especially as it has to do with Africa, especially if you have a background in international relations or international studies and diplomacy, as some persons will call it, you probably have not forgotten what Walter Rodney talked about Africa in the 18th century, how that he talked about Africa and Europe were at par in terms of development. Talks about street lights across Africa, or at least many parts of Africa, including in Benin City, for example, in the 18th century. And then several decades down the line, you look at Africa and you're asking yourself, how much did we achieve at that point? What would we have done better in the last several decades? Has Africa really made appreciable, or if you like, commendable progress so far? Today, Africa has been called many things. Nigeria in particular has been called the headquarters of poverty, world headquarters of poverty, that is. Africa, many countries of the continent have become some sort of dump sites for European countries, from used automobile to items of clothing, home essentials, kitchenware, and so on and so forth. And you're wondering, at what point will Africa rise again to become that Africa that Walter Rodney talked about in the 18th century? The irony, however, is that many persons, including scholars and analysts, have talked about how that Africa is the frontiers for development on a global scale. But does the Africa that we see today look anything close to that? I mean, look at the scale of terrorism across this continent, for example. Let's not talk about the monumental level of corruption in Africa. How about questionable quality of leadership, for example? Or should we rather talk about healthcare systems across the continent? What exactly is missing on this continent in terms of leadership? Some persons have said that Africa can do better than Europe, or at least be at par with Europe as it stands today. What exactly have we missed? From series of coups, for instance, to issues about leadership not being effective and proactive enough. Look at Guinea, for example. Just a matter of weeks ago, we were told of how that there had been a coup in that country, and we have seen such instances across this continent time and again. And there's somewhere in your head you're wondering, what exactly is the African Union, or ECOWAS in particular, doing about it on issues that are more sub-regional specific, for instance? Those are the sorts of conversation that we want to have on the program today. But first of all, let's take you to a voice by the leader, the president of Rwanda, and how that he has been so passionate about the development of Africa that he's now questioning what exactly is responsible for pushing leaders across this continent to Europe, in particular France, to ask for help. And he says that for the most part, based on his own assessment, it's just that they're looking for photo opportunity. But again, does that in any way, or to whatever extent, solve the problem of the continent? Let's hear him.
When it comes to Africa, I'm sure many people in this audience will have made the same observations. I think we must take responsibility and accept our failures in dealing with these matters. For example, relating to what President Obasanjo has just said, on the case of Boko Haram, or you can use that for many other cases. For me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe to sit there and just, it's like they are made to sit down and address their problems. Why does anybody wait for that? What image does it even give about us, about Africa? In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the President of France and just talk about addressing problems. It doesn't make sense that our leaders cannot get themselves together to address problems affecting our people. It doesn't make sense. Of course, I'm saying this painfully. On the other hand, that I look forward for the time when I can be like the two former presidents. I think they are more free to say things than I. Being where they are and me being where I am. So I tend to remain with some reservations about what I have to say because, but I think there is that serious problem. African leaders, we don't need to be invited anywhere to go and address our problems without first inviting ourselves to come together to tell each other the actual truth that we must tell each other about our serious problems. So, I mean, again, look at the problem of South Sudan, indeed. The first problem was about this country and the people there wanting to be independent. They got independence. Now that turned into a problem. How? So you have one war being fought, waged to be independent, then you have to fight another when you have achieved independence. Just fighting among themselves. Why? So some of these underlying root causes should and could have been addressed by the leaders there. Whatever happened, whoever was wrong, that's not the issue. It is still the responsibility of leaders. If they can't resolve the matters themselves, why not? Why not call upon neighbors to say, come and help? We have a problem here. Maybe there is a problem between the president and the vice president. And if they can't resolve it, and each one thinks he's the one who is right and the other is wrong, and they are going to divide the army and government and everybody else to go on either side and start fighting, well, I think in between the time that starts and when it actually happens, something can be done, but it has to be leaders to work towards that and avoid the catastrophe that, like we are seeing or have seen or that has already happened in South Sudan. But of course, the unfortunate part is that the most majority who suffer are the innocent people who have nothing to do with it. Women, children, and even many men are innocent in that situation. So this is, I'm not giving answers, probably I'm raising more questions than, or adding to others that have been raised. So for the time being, let me stop here. Thank you.
Thank you for staying with us on the program. We thought we should give you that video just for you to have an insight into what the conversation is about and the direction of our discussion on the program this afternoon. My guest is Matthias Obayuwana. He's a Benin-based legal practitioner. He's here to just lend his voice to the conversation that we're having on the program this afternoon. Matthias, thank you for coming on the program. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and good afternoon.
Just while that video was on, I mean, while President Paul Kagame was talking about Africa and how that he's personally concerned about how that African leaders will run to Europe, run to France in particular to seek for help. I mean, cap in hand, as they say. You and I were talking about some of the milestones recorded by United Arab Emirates. Some of us have been there. We've seen the things they've done there. And you're wondering, this country also discovered oil just at about the same time as did several African countries, including Nigeria. It is now obvious, I mean very obvious, that oil is not a problem, but what quality of leadership, what quality of direction do you provide on the basis of that very vital resource is now the question. What exactly is missing amongst African leaders?
I think what's actually missing is the political will to do what is right. We are very good at rhetorics, high-sounding words that are not from the heart. You just say to please anyone, what we call political statements.
Right.
I'm going to build bridges where there are no rivers. You know, I'm going to create skyscrapers out of nothing. So you tell people things that they want to hear. You secure their confidence to vote for you. By the time you get in there, you do something else. And they start asking you, is this the change you vote for? Are these the things you told us you're going to do when you come to power? And then they start telling you the reasons why they cannot do that. The blame game. Oh, if my predecessor had done better, I would not have been this mess. Meanwhile, you came to power to change what you are already seen to be going wrong, and not to come in to begin to criticize your predecessor.
Right.
You know, so, and at the end of the day, whatever little opportunities they have, they look at the self. You know, how much money can I make for myself? How much wealth can I amass? How much political enemies can I make or punish? How much political friends can I favor? They now leave the people out of the picture. You know, so that is where I put us where we are today. Quite honestly, you can see President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, you know, how he has spoken from the heart. And he's not just saying it, he's doing it.
Right.
That was a war-torn country. You know, you can see the way he has turned things around. There's peace in Rwanda. They have unified the people. They have removed ethnic differences as much as they can. And they're trying to get people, you know, to be united, you know, and putting the country first. That is what we need to do. Africa, we are blessed with human resources, intelligent people all over the world. You see the brain drain thing, people traveling. You go to our hospitals, you don't find doctors. You know, the ones you find are those who are still trying to process their papers to live. You know, the best hands we have are all abroad, studying, working, earning better pay. A doctor will be employed here to work. You will not give the doctor the facilities to work, the equipment to work, the machines, they don't have it. You don't pay them, you know, reasonable, you know, wages to encourage them to stay. You don't encourage research and all of that. If you look at the budget for, you know, for our hospitals, you know,
right.
in medicines, you know, you find out that it's going to right home a bat compared to the recurrent expenditure that they run. Always traveling abroad to do 1 or 2 jamboree and engaging themselves in elephant task projects. You know, they borrow money to spend on ephemeral things. Even the project that they want to, you know, they will borrow the money for a particular project. You end up not carrying out that project. Sometimes the thing is inflated, the price are inflated compared to other projects, you know, across the globe. You have a lower standard and higher rate. You know, so all over, so corruption has eaten into the fabric of the nation. That is what has put us where we are. If you go abroad now, those of them who go for medical tourism, they still find Africans treating them. Because you know, the Europeans, you know, the Western nation, they still see, they look out for the best hands that we have. They come in there, Africans that they can work with little or no resources. They can see, you know, give a good medical care with the limited resources that they have. When they now go out there and find their machines that can make their work easy, you do a scan before you know the result is out. Then you know what to do, you know what to operate, you know how to get it done. Everything is moving smoothly. You admit a patient in the hospital here, they will take to go and do some scans, some tests. Before the result will come out, the patient would have died. You have nothing to treat the patient with. So by the time you have all the facilities with you, you have all your material, and they can work within timeline, you can see them giving results. Are they those in the academia? Go out there and see our scholars out there. We go abroad to study. You find Africans as shiny Europeans, you know, colleagues and students. in every sphere. So we can name it. Even in the military, you can also see Africans in the military, in other Western nations. They know how to fight their battles, they know what to do, they are skillful. But whatever happens to them in the course of that battle, they are insured. Their family will be taken care of. Everything is assured. So they are ready to die for the country that they want to fight for.
Out of patriotism.
Out of patriotism. But here, whatever happens to you, you are your own. You draft Boko Haram people. You say they are repentant Boko Haram into the Nigerian army. And then they now infiltrate and begin to know, the security architecture of the country. Then you now ask other innocent military men to go to the war front to go fight other insurgents. And then the information will be passed out before you get there. You end up sending them to the slaughter. And whatever happens to them, their family back home, there's nothing for them. So when you now find yourself in such situation, you either want to stay away from the military or you just stay there and be fighting. What do we not do? If just a matter of surviving whichever way, either you desert or you find a way of not just giving your best. That is not best for our nation. So when we find ourselves in a position of authority, we must always do the best. We have got best. And you look at Dora Akuili of blessed memory when she was there in NAFDAC. Am I right? Yes. In NAFDAC, you see how she turned things around. People were engaging in fake drugs and all of that. She went in there, sanitized the system. Things were moving smoothly. Everything was going very well. These are the kind of leadership that we need. Yeah, they had opposition from right and center. She insisted on doing the right thing. So it is that political will to do the right thing. Look at Okonjo, Iweala. You can see what she's also doing now, in the World Bank, and you can see how she has been able to transform the economy. You find such a person in Nigeria here. We underrate her. We don't give her due regard. We should look for these heads and bring them aboard. Our electoral system is another terrible, situation that will not bring about the best hands. People going to elections. If you don't have the money to contest elections, you cannot come on board. The best hands are never assured. Even when you have the money to come on board, the system has been skewed in such a way that the best hands cannot always come on board to lead. So at the end of the day, you find ourselves where we are. We are a nation so blessed. We are blessed with natural resources. We're talking about Dubai a few minutes ago. Dubai, they create artificial rain. They don't have rain. It's a desert land. But you go there, and people now, they steal money and they want to go buy apartment in Dubai. They want to go holiday in Dubai. These are people, the country that is being built by human beings like us. They don't have two heads. They don't have larger brain that we do. They just have that forthrightness and the mind to do the right thing at the right time. With the best resources that we have, we let our agriculture, that was the mainstay for our economy. We left it. We went for oil. Now everything that we do now is all about oil. And then our budget is tied around oil. We don't know how to create wealth. At the end of the day, when the oil, the price are falling, whatever money you get from it, you go out there to go borrowing. At a point, we're borrowing money to send money to send money to the various states. Allocation every month. There were
allegations of currency being printed.
Exactly. That was the point.
That became controversial.
It became controversial, and then the governor here who made the point, insisted that he can prove whatever he has said. We can't continue like that.
Right.
You can't continue borrowing money. As we speak now, the borrowing spree. You borrow money from China, you mortgage our land as part of the collateral. If you cannot pay back, they can come and take our land. The sovereignty which we gave to you. Sovereignty resides in the people of our country.
Not in government.
Not in government, because we decided to donate powers to you. That is why year in, year out, you come asking, for vote. That's why I'm not surprised, in some other countries, like Guinea now, people are coming around to seize power by force. Because what our leaders think about democracy is that, by the time we are there in the democracy, we now create rules, we now build the hospital and infrastructures and the rest of it. In the military era, such things were in existence. Democracy is not about building infrastructures and roads. It's about the people, consulting the people. Before you do anything, put the people
inclusive governance.
First. Yes, inclusive governance. Put them first, ask them what they want to do and how you want to do it. And by the time they agree with you, you are doing it, there's accountability, there's transparency in the process. Don't sit back and begin to insist on doing things in a particular way. You have made a decision, whether you like it or not, you're going to force down the throat of people. You can get an example now in Nigeria when the VC, University of Benin, came with a policy that the students were not happy about. That was democracy in action. The people came to say, we reject this policy. We cannot allow this policy.
And there was a reversal.
Yeah, there was a reversal. That's why I'm coming to praise our effort for seeing the good in the people.
And aligning.
Yes, and aligning with them. They are seeing that what has happened has affected them drastically. They do not want it. I salute the courage of the students who were organized in the way they went about the protest. And I salute the courage also of the VC, who reversed herself for the best interest of the people. And now there's peace. So that is what we need. That's what democracy is all about. You don't force your will on the people. You don't force your interest on the people, whether you like it or not. I'm talking about constitutional review, for example, now in Nigeria, talking about the need for people to have access to their resources and be able to develop at their own pace. We are a country so blessed. We have oil in the south. We have coal. We have other natural resources. We have gold in the north and all of that. Why don't you allow people to develop at their own pace? Why would the government, develop a policy and try to seed whatever natural resources that we have in the various regions in the central government, what we call the federal government now, in print, but we operate like as if we are a central government. If you are a federation, we should allow the various states to develop at their pace. So we should be altruistic. Whatever it is that we have decided to live by, we should follow through to the letters. Don't say you are a federal system of government, you are behaving as if you are a unitary system of government. In all federations, like in America, the oil in Texas belongs to the state of Texas.
Right.
Does not belong to the United States of America. They will exploit that oil and use to develop the state of Texas. If the oil in Edo State, in the Niger Delta, should belong to the people in Niger Delta, use it to develop Niger Delta. Whatever you get from it, send a little to the center. The same goes for the gold in the north. Exploit whatever you get from it, use to develop the area. Whatever you get from it, send a little to the center, so they can use to have the central administration. You're talking about value-added tax now. People working in various states, you collect taxes and take it to the federal government. Why? People are working in the state, so whatever money that you are deriving from tax for the state should be used to develop the state. That is another battle that is ongoing. So if you're talking about federalism, true federalism, we must ensure that the interests of the various states should be taken care of.
I want to talk to you about,
so the same goes for other
resources. I mean, you just mentioned natural resources. Africa is enormously blessed with these resources, from oil to minerals and so on and so forth. Let's not even mention things like agriculture. I mean, arable lands and all that. Conflicts on this continent have always been revolving around natural resources. Is that supposed to be a blessing or a curse for this continent?
It's ordinarily, it ought to be a blessing. If you look at the crave for Western civilization, when they came to colonize us, the Britons came to, the Southern Protectorate, the French, went to other French countries to colonize. And what they were craving for in Africa. What were they craving for? They were not coming to serve the best interest of the people, in Africa. They were coming for the resources that they have discovered. They discovered these natural resources in Africa that they want to come and tap. So in the guise of want to come and colonize, like you said, before the white man came to Nigeria, for example, we were already civilized. Like you rightly noted earlier, our roads were paved, with street lights, double lanes. People were civilized. The immigration, a system was already in place. That is why when the white men said they were coming through Gelegele to the palace of the Oba of Benin, we said, no, you can't visit us now. We have something doing at the time. But they look down on us as if we are a lesser human being. We are people uncivilized in their own wise. Because whatever you tend to be civilization in your own right is subjective. We were already civilized before you came. We are not naked people on the street. Our streets were paved and we were street lights. And our immigration officers ask you not to proceed, and you insisted on proceeding. Just now, when you try to break into territorial integrity of another nation, you are going across the border, the immigration officers are going to stop you. If they ask you to stop, you don't stop. They can bring you down. They can shoot you down. So you cannot just force yourself into that territory. That is what we are doing in Africa. Edo, for example, when the white people fought their way in, and then they were brought down. Oh, they felt that they have been attacked, they have been dehumanized, and the best thing to do was to come and invade the Benin Kingdom in 1897 and all what not that happened. Looting of our artifact and the rest of it. We're already a civilized people. Is it in Egypt? Name it. So they are coming in, but really not to help us in any way. You came in because of our resources. You took as much as you could get. You even took human resources, take our people away as slaves to go use to develop your countries. When Tony Blair, we were saying, you know, a couple of years ago that the streets of London are not paved with gold, and people should be sent back to Africa, you know, and go and develop Africa. The question was, you know, then Trump said Africans are, Nigerians are fantastically corrupt. Was he saying Trump or Tony Blair? So
it was David Cameron who said that.
Yeah, no, so yes. if you are so corrupt, according to you, and the streets of London are not paved with gold, we should go back home and develop the wealth from Africa and the human resources you took from Africa as slaves was what you used to develop this Western nation, America, Britain, and you know, even in the French country. So it's the sweat of Africans. And now when our leaders now come on board, because they are so tied to the apron string of these colonizers, every now and then they keep having the feeling that they are lesser human beings. If you don't go to London to go and buy a house, you have not arrived as a president, or as a Senate president, as a politician, whatever it is. If you don't go to South Africa to go buy, if you go to Dubai, go to the United States to go buy a home, you have not arrived. They steal these funds and they take to this Western nation. Does not take two to tango.
Of course.
So the man who took the funds, the wealth of Africa, to the European nation to go and keep in your banks, and you know that this man that has brought this money to your bank cannot justify the money that he has brought,
it's
and yet
questionable character.
Exactly, and yet you receive the money from that person, and the money are even encoded in such a way that even when the leader dies, like Sani Abacha, for example, in Africa, the money are still being repatriated. We are still begging them, show us where the other monies are, so they can keep returning there. Who received this money from him? This is just one man. There are other leaders that are taking money, you know, to Western nations to go and hide. Who received this money from them? So if Africans are fantastically corrupt, the Western nations are also corrupt because they kept these stolen funds, you know, encouraging them. So every now and then they keep encouraging people to steal and come and keep in their country. So they should send our leaders back whenever they come stealing and bringing money to come and keep. Check the records. How much do you earn? How much is your salary in Africa? In the kind of particular job that you are doing, how much do you earn? Can you justify the money you are bringing here? Is the money you are bringing here, is it the Central Bank of Nigeria? Is it an extension, you know, of the banks that you have in Western nations that you are going to keep those money there? Expose those leaders. Send the money back home. So that when you keep doing that, then the corruption system will stop. But they will shield them. They will help them buy houses in pseudo names. You know, and then they keep the money in their bank. At the end of the day, you now find our young Africans now begin to look at the leaders who are hiding money. Okay, well, if they are hiding money there, you know, this is still Yahoo in a way. You steal money from the people who are put you in government. The money are going to use to develop our people, create infrastructures and roads and everything. You steal this fund, you take it out there. At the end of the day, you go for medical tourism. You have headache, you go to France. You have a toothache or earache, you go to the United Kingdom. What about the common Nigerians that have given their votes to you, you know, to govern? At the end of the day, we cannot have access to medical facilities. You go out there to the hospitals, nothing to write home about. If you don't have money to treat yourself, you are on your own. But you can go to African country, to European country to go and treat yourself. If you create the facilities here in Nigeria, I'm sure you attract other Europeans to come and treat themselves here.
Let's talk about
our doctors, yes. that are running away. You pay them well. The same thing for educational system. Yes. You are seeing private universities now coming up, like if you have private secondary school, private primary school, all over the place. The government institutions
this
are not properly taken care of.
They are accredited by the NUC.
Yes, the NUC, what would I do? The NUC are accredited because you keep writing jam, the quota system to come into universities.
You don't have capacity.
You know, it's not there. Even when you come in, even for those of them who are even go to university, when they strike, you have supposed to spend 4 years in universities, you end up spending 6, 7 years. You can't even determine when you will leave. For parents who have the wherewithal, they say, well, instead of doing that, let me see to a private university, either in Nigeria or abroad, where you can be sure of your 4-year course. You are done and dusted, and you can get a job. By the time you are done with all of this, they will tell you that before they can give you a job, between 2 years, you must have 5 years working experience. How can you achieve all of that when a man of 28,
maybe a master's
30,
degree in between?
Exactly. You are still waiting to get to finish from university. If you are paying our teachers well, if you are investing so much money in the educational system, we will be in those mess. I will not be going to give licenses to private universities here and there, being floated here and there. Even our leader, like you are saying now, Paul Kagame now, his children attended school in Rwanda. None of them left there. Say they are going for vacation outside the country. How many of our leaders have their children attending our public schools here? We had Erufai, who brought the words, you know, to attend a public school. By the time the Boko Haram started attacking people, he went and removed his own and let the public, the children of the poor, you know, in there at their own risk. You know, at the end of the day, they will go there and attack people in the schools. Boko Haram will go and kidnap them. You will pay ransom. He says he will not pay ransom. Other children that are being kidnapped, who will pay the ransom for this? You are taking your own hand now to go and hide somewhere. You know, so is that a nation that cannot secure security and welfare of the people? Such a government would have failed. That is where we miss it in Africa. We keep running out. We take our kids abroad to go and study. You steal away from Africa, you go and hide it abroad. You go out there to go for tourism abroad to see what they are doing. Whatever you see, you don't bring it back. You go there, you queue up before things are done. People are done in orderly manner there. You don't go with several vehicles blowing siren. You carry your own bag. You carry your own umbrella, your own raincoat, whatever it is, when you go out. But when you come here, you have many hangers on. You have many persons in the protocol following you, waiting so much resources on recurrent expenditure. And then you borrow the money. This money, you are even borrowing this money. You are not even recreating the wealth. You know, so there's a lot that we have missing in Africa.
I want to take a mind
that we need to fix.
To something I'm sure is relatively fresh on our minds. A video that went viral recently of some supposed Saudis who had come to Abuja to recruit medical doctors from Nigeria at a particular very popular hotel in the heart of the country's capital. Some persons have said that was not the first time it would happen in Nigeria. That was not the first time it would happen on the soil of Africa. That it happens across this country. I mean, in 2010, 2011, for example, we're told that Ethiopia, an African country in East Africa, had more doctors in California, a state in the US, than it had in
their country.
Yes, in Ethiopia, right? For many people, that's a shame. And that has continued across different fields of human endeavors, on the continent of Africa. And people are saying, look, this is the height of brain drain. But what can you do? The globe has become more competitive in recent years. Europe is tugging at the heart of Africa. Asia is tugging at the heart of Africa. Continental America is tugging at the heart of Africa, for example. How much of capacity does Africa as a continent need to build to be able to absorb all of this pressure, develop homegrown solutions to her problems? Yes,
that is where that political way is missing. They are selfish. We don't practice democracy, like I said. It's selfocracy. So when you see countries like Guinea taking over power, you know, as far as they are concerned, you have been there for so long. There's not much impact for you and your cronies. So you have had to your full. Let me also come and take over and have whatever for myself. Because after all, we are not all for the people of the various countries that we are governing. That is why you see a leader, you know, they find a way of manipulating the constitution of their country to sit tight in power, to remain there for so long. The lessons of Nelson Mandela, they refuse to imbibe. The lessons of President Jonathan of Nigeria, they refuse to imbibe. They believe that they must die in office. They must. You see an African president being carried, an old man being forced, and they remain in power. They want to die in office. They are not there for the interest of the people. So if you put the right peg, square pegs in square holes, even when an older generation comes into a position of leadership, look out for the right person that can help to fix the country, and give them the free hand to do what is right. If only that can happen in Africa, you can find the likes. You know, you can see the turnaround of that Kagame abroad to Rwanda, a war-torn country. So if you can replicate that in other African countries, who will really have the welfare of the people at heart, the interest of the country at heart, patriotism at its peak. That is what we need, and not ethnicism. You know, by the time you find anybody in authority, they are thinking about how to benefit themselves and their people. When somebody has committed a crime, you say, oh, this person is my own. So sacred cowism. Do not touch him, the touch not. You know, so they will do it and they will get away with it. And people are watching. What is going on? The body language, what is going on? At this present era, we're talking about nomadic heading. People are saying, look, let us go into ranches, you will not listen. You will carry your cow to people's farm, you will graze on their farm, people will resist you, don't do that, you will kill them, and then you graduate from that, you say, okay, there's the Boko Haram, there's no Western education, you don't have the political will to stem it in the tide and to stop it from continuing. It keep going on, you are having rapport with them, you know who they are, but you keep claiming that they are faceless individual, you cannot trace their account, you cannot follow. So that, we are just handling this issue with kid gloves. And why are they doing it? For political reasons. Let us secure power. All they care is about power. By the time they come into power, they're not looking about what to do with that power. Is to secure themselves in power again. So year in, year out, that vicious circle, we are secure this territory now. And this Boko Haram, wherever they are, if they are people they're actually using, they are our people, so they will need them. So just keep them there, do not come down too hard on them. You know, we are looking at 2023. Then the other one is also doing his own, the other end. They are looking at, everybody's talking about their own self. If you look at, put the Nigeria picture, you know, in perspective, to see whatever we are doing for the interest of Nigeria, for the interest of Africa, you will not find all of this. Talking about the lighting system, we are blessed with solar power. They will not transform that to create that solar energy for our people. We are blessed with natural resources. They will not transform that. Like that was the question that you asked. Is it really a blessing or a curse? Ordinarily, it's a country so blessed. Your man on radio, man around town, you know, said over time that if African leaders are moved to these Western nations like America and Britain to go and manage, and they go with this mentality that they are used to manage Africa, they will destroy those Western nations. And if you move those Westerners to Africa with the animal resources that we have, they will turn Africa to a super power nation. That's what I'm talking about Dubai, you know, a few minutes ago. They don't have natural resources, but they create artificial rain. They create super structures in that place. How did it happen? And they will tell you the resources that they're going to use, they have accountability. But here, no. You have a program on ground, you're talking about how much money you can line your pocket with. Every person that comes to power, they're talking about how to perpetuate themselves in office, rather than looking at the interests of the people. For goodness sake, one must even do 2 terms in office. Because more often than not, those who do 2 terms in office, they don't even perform well. In the first term, you are doing very well, everybody is praising you. In the second term, by the time you come in, because that's your last term, you misbehave, whatever you like.
You break all the rules.
You break all the rules. People to talk to you, you will not listen. All the ethos of democracy, you will ignore. And then the various House of Assembly or National Assembly, they lack the courage to call you to order, either by impeachment or whatever it is. Everybody looking about what they can get in their pocket. The document with the constitution that is binding us together, that is telling them what to do, they ignore it completely. So that is why they find ourselves in this system, that our people are now losing faith. Even the so-called leaders, they say they don't have faith in this country. They don't have faith in Africa. That is why they keep running abroad. For medical tourism, to go and buy houses, to go and hide money here and there. If you have faith in Africa, put your investment in Africa. If I thought you steal money in Africa and you invest that money in Africa, it be for the benefit of Africans. You will not steal money and go and hide abroad. You will not go and go for medical tourism abroad when you can say recreate that medical facilities in Nigeria. You will not be sending our children abroad to go and study when you can create that environment here, in Africa. So we can go on and on and on and on. When people go abroad, they are well appreciated. They are well appreciated. The environment is good enough for them. They are well paid. But here you slave yourself here in Nigeria. You cannot even be assured, of the security of your job. By the time you come to protest, it become the norm now. Or whenever you protest, it's okay, no work, no pay. You are protesting, you're asking for better working conditions and environment, everything. It's okay. If you want to return back to work, no pay rule. So it's up to you. And then people can be kept out. Imagine Totos have been on strike for a while now. The Nigerians are at their own mercy. Whatever it is that is going on, it's not their business. You go out there, people are dying by the day. It's not their business. As far as they are concerned, we are here. Those of us, few of us that are here, we should not take care of ourselves. If we are sick, we jet out. By the time they shut the borders, and all African leaders remain their country, if you are sick and you are asking for visa to go for medical tourism abroad, they should deny them. Fix your country. and have the best time, because the African doctors that will still treat you abroad, fix Nigeria, fix Africa, fix, you know, our facilities here, and you can still get your treatment here in Africa. By the time they shut the doors against them, I'm sure they begin to think twice. By the time they begin to deny visas to their children to come and study abroad, they begin to think twice and see how they can fix Africa. So that is what we need. We need that patriotism. We need the genuine leadership. We need to fix the system. We need to ensure that the right thing is done, and not keep looking at Africa as if the blessings that God has given to us in Africa is a curse. We keep looking at the Western world. It is wrong.
We're going to take a break in a bit, everyone, but we just want to push this conversation a bit further. I want to ask you a question, just one question before that break. Some persons are now saying that, look, there are two countries essentially being accused of actually influencing the direction or extent of development in Africa. Those two countries are, I mean, people talk about Britain, for example. They talk about France, for instance. Is there any chance, I mean, these are colonial masters as far as the continent is concerned. Is there any chance Africa as a continent can ever win itself of the influence of these two former world superpowers?
We can win ourselves of those influence. The only issue is that a willing captive cannot be delivered.
Is that what Africa is?
Yes, they are willing captives. They are willing captives. Every now and then you look up to them. They try to influence us with their Western culture. You know, at the point they ask us to legalize gay and all, you know, and all of that. If you don't do that, they will not send grants and all of that. So you are looking at that. They're finding a way of fashioning our mindset, giving us a orientation that is, that, you know, of the Western nature, the way they behave is what they want us to behave here, you know. So except for the fact that because of the deep-rooted African culture in us, we reject some of those things and say, look, we will not allow this, you know. But a good number of them, they keep allowing it because they look at because they have a strong tie. They believe that when there is a war, they can always fall back to these countries who will always protect them. Who says you cannot build your military? Why would you always think that you keep looking? You have been winning. They are giving you independence. It's just akin to a man, you know, who has attained an age of maturity at 25 or 20, whatever. At 18, you are left your father's house. You are married. According to the scripture, say a man shall leave his father and his mother, you know, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one. So you are cleaved unto your wife. You are one. You keep going back to daddy and mommy. How do I run my home? And daddy and mommy, what do I do? So you find that you are not matured. You are just married, you are not matured. If you keep asking for direction every now and then, how you should go? You have had independence now for over 60 years. We cannot sit back and decide what we will do and how we will go about it. We get ourselves tied to the April streets of the Western nation, and then we are being directed about what to do and what not to do. We cannot build our military, we cannot build our infrastructure. The way we were doing it back in the days, in the 70s, where the value of the currency was stronger. The value of the naira was stronger than the dollar, you know, and the pounds. But what's going on now? Because why? Of balance of trade. We have things that we are taking out there, if you know, and then any foreign exchange. But now there's nothing. Even at that time, as bad as it was then, we are taking those things out in raw materials. You take cocoa, you take timber, you take rubber, you know, all of this you still take out in raw materials. There was no one we are actually manufacturing here, and we refuse to even grow. Beyond that point, now we are abandoning our agroeconomy. We saw oil. We are still moving our oil out. We are refining in our country. The byproduct from oil, there's no one. We flare our gases. There's nothing that we can, you know, refine that we are producing. Every now and then you are looking at Western nations, they will import our clothes that we wear. They will import books that we will write on, toothpick, everything, our vehicles. There's no one that we can do by ourselves. So there's no balance. There's a balance of trade deficit. That is why the currency is devaluing. So every now and then, because of that, what they do, Nigerians themselves, even our youth, we are looking up to the Western nation too. Or because our leaders are always going there. You keep asking, when they say, what plans do you have for our nation? He says it's in the pipeline. People are not busting the pipeline to find out what is there. So because our leaders are always going out there, where is Mr. President? He has gone for medical tourism abroad. Where is the Senate President? He has gone, the children are schooling abroad. If that is the case, people schooling abroad, everything is going on well, there's no insecurity, everything is fine, they're fine. Once you have more money, you're thinking about running away from this country. The way you now get out there, whatever money they can make, they send the money back home through the black market system, exchange rate. Then they cannot acquire property for themselves. For that, as far as they are concerned, they having a family in Nigeria or in Africa that don't have somebody abroad. So if for any aspiring young man, their dream is to travel abroad and make money. Why? Because we are not manufacturing in Africa. Even when they say encourage cottage industries, give them the necessary facilities. You can give them interest-free loan, and with all the necessary amenities to get them to work. There is nothing. Where is power? You cannot be assured of interrupted power supply at this era in Africa. We have all the resources to make it happen. Is it hydro energy? Is it wind energy, thermal? Is it solar energy? What is it that we're talking about that we do not have? But they cannot transform it. But I bet you if you bring technocrats from abroad to run this country, to say, okay, fine, come and colonize us. We are tired, we know how to get without to get this thing done. Come and do it for us. They will do it for us at their own pay, because at that time, they were still dictating to us. When we send rubber or cocoa in raw materials to them abroad, the finished product, they will dictate how much they used to buy it. That was it then. And that is still the same case now. They will tell us how much they will buy those items, and they will bring the finished product and still fix the price for us. If you like, you buy. If you like, you don't buy. So the son of the cocoa farmer cannot buy chocolate. The cocoa farmer or the rubber tapper cannot buy a good tire for his tires, for his bicycle. You know, or is it the man, the timber man cannot even buy books, notebooks, or don't even know what a tissue paper or what they call it, you know, other soft material that the byproduct from wood is being used for. You cannot even purchase it. You see, even toothpick, is there anything that we can produce here in Africa? So until we begin to learn how to create wealth in Africa, create the enabling environment, and encourage people who want to go into investment, and ensure that the amenities are out there. You can give them, you may not tax whatever thing that they are doing. Give them all the necessary environment to get this thing done. It will happen. But our people, they don't care. All they care is that get this money in, buy property here and there, stocks on here and there.
Incidentally, that's not the answer to the problem.
It's not the answer to the problem. So every now and then, is it infrastructure? Our roads are bad. People cannot travel by road. Many fly now. You know, even when it's not financially convenient. Yeah, financially convenient. Because you have to stay alive to fly or use the road. Or is it the rail system? Want to really take a break now? You can go on and on. I think the issues are enormous. But I'm going to talk to you about the factors of poverty. Yes. And illiteracy, access to quality education in Africa. Yes. You already talked about institutional deficits on the front of education. This morning, for example, I listened to a very prominent Nigerian on a sister station who had talked about how that Nigeria is philosophically confused. We're going to have that conversation as we wrap it up on the show this afternoon. But first, we're taking a break. We're back shortly. Thank you for staying with us on the program. We just want to wrap up right now. Let me give you 2 minutes quickly to talk about the elements of poverty and illiteracy in Africa. We can't take away from the fact that in the 21st century, education is a pivot around which several other things, as far as development is concerned, revolve. How can we quickly address the issues of poverty and education across this continent and be able to jumpstart development? Well, the only way we can address the issue of education, because education and poverty, they are intertwined. Because if you have poverty of ideas, which is lack of education, you can't create wealth. Now, the kind of educational system that we are running, they're just teaching us to memorize, you know, what others have theorized. We don't practice, you know, what is being taught. Now I'm looking at more of vocational education. If you have a curriculum where you are teaching a child, for example, maybe physics or chemistry or whatever it is, you should be able to go about the practical aspect of it. You know, in chemistry, what can you create?
How can we apply that creation to real life problems?
Exactly, solving the real life problems. So other than giving them those theoretical aspect of it, we should move a little bit away from it and talking about how to create something to solve,
I'm afraid
to solve a problem.
I want you to talk about this for the next couple of hours. But we're time constrained. As always,
that's exactly what they need to do.
Barrister Bayiwana has done more than impress us on the program this afternoon. I mean, he has been making sense of all of the issues that we deal with on this continent, and going forward, what we should do as a government, as a people, to be able to address these issues and run circles around these challenges as quickly as possible. Again, thank you for coming. I mean, you are a busy man. You made our time to be on the show today.
Thank you.
That. All right.
Appreciate it.
That's what we're leaving it today. Thank you everyone for watching. In a bit, we'll join at this was our guest to bring you healthy living. Have a great day ahead of you.